My name is Jaguna, also known as Monk Wordsmith of the Physics, right here from Seattle. Here with my boy Kamal, that I brought up, and we just came here to join around to talk to you about hip hop and the international impact of hip hop. My parents are from Kenya, so I'm a Kenyan by blood and by soul and heart, and so I grew up in the African culture, but here in Seattle. And so I've had roots in both hip-hop as an American-based movement and in the culture that I think hip-hop comes from. And so in this conversation, I'm just going to touch on things that I think I've seen and experienced and how that connects hip-hop on both sides, I think, of the map. And I think looking at that last video really kind of brings it out for me, because I see a lot of the African images and the culture and the kind of the ritual of African culture. And I think that that's something that hip-hop, being something that's based in African-American culture, shows what our people retained throughout our experience. It's that music is something in African culture and in cultures around the world that's a part of everyday life. Like, my grandmother gets up in the morning, she sings, washes up and sings. As you do everything, music, dance, these aren't things that exist at a concert hall over here and you go and you watch them. There's something that's part of your everyday life and your every experience. And to me, it's a ritual, you know? And it's something that, when it becomes a little disconnected in this Western culture, everything's mechanized, it comes up through the soul. So that's what I think hip-hop is. So seeing those images of how traditional kind of social rituals go on kind of reinforces it for me that that's what hip-hop is for us here. So kind of just seeing how music is a social experience. It's not really a product you buy. It's not that you go and see a concert. It's something you participate in hip-hop. It's not like you go to a classical music concert. You know, we do call and response. You know, when I get on stage, I got to connect with the crowd. You know, if I'm not connecting, I know, because nobody's paying attention, I get no response. And that's something I think in hip-hop that is different than a lot of other forms of music. And when they talked about disco, when that was going on, they were getting the dance experience, they were getting the musical experience, but it wasn't really connecting to the people's experience of life. And so I think that's what makes hip-hop something significant for young people especially, because it's something that responds to you. And so around the world, I've seen that same thing. So it's something that, in looking at this, brings up a lot of things I've seen. Say the last 2 years, I've gone back to Kenya for Christmas just to visit family and to see, you know, just to soak up the culture and the experience of being in Africa. Because I've grown up here, spent most of my time here. As an adult, I want to spend more time there. But in those experiences, I've seen how hip-hop is developed like crazy, in Kenya specifically. Hip-hop is a big part of the culture. Like, I was surprised to go there and the radio stations kill everything out here with American hip-hop. Like, I'm like, we're so deprived in Seattle, it's sad. Like, it's really sad that I go to Nairobi and I can flip through stations that will play American hip-hop way better than what you hear. I can hear stuff from the late 90s to the early 2000s, and the stuff that's popping right now that's good music, along with reggae, along with African hip-hop, along with different forms of music. And I think the world is accessing a lot of different things. And what I've seen is that young people throughout the world have a lot to pick and choose from, whereas we tend to limit ourselves a lot here. We think that we have got it all going on, but we really limited ourselves to a certain degree because we think it's all about America. So that really struck me, you know. When I was in Gong with my family's from outside Nairobi, and just kind of, say, driving down the street to get to the city, and I see kids rocking a little Arab scarf, like, because that's the hip-hop thing. And I was thinking, wow, hip-hop has made that kind of impact to where it's something, when some of these rappers are rocking this scarf from another culture, it's kind of appropriation. So I'm seeing that once they appropriate, other kids then appropriate it across the world, and they, you know, they give it whatever meaning is theirs. So I think that's something that's dope to me, because they can do whatever they want with it. And I think it's all positive because it challenges those of us that now get out there and experience it to then make it a part of what we're doing. So it's just hip hop going global to me. And kind of one thing I also wanted to touch on is kind of the images of hip hop that I've seen, say, being in Kenya, say specifically. You have you still have the more commercial side of hip hop and the more underground or fundamental kind of side of hip hop. And so hip hop images have affected people in a big way in terms of even the bling bling and what is considered in this modern world to be the ideal. Because hip hop, to a large degree in the world, whether you go to Asia, Europe, Africa, that's the ideal of what it is to be cool. And as an American, when you go out there, you know, because I think everybody should get out of this country, go out there and experience the world. You'll realize how much people look to the American as a cultural icon, that idea of the American, and that idea of hip hop being still American, but being part of that counterculture, being part of that oppressed experience. People will identify with you as wherever you are, an African American, American of color, or just somebody that's into hip hop that may be a white American, but somebody that identifies with that outside culture. People kind of look to you and identify with that. And a big part of that is like when I was in Nairobi, they have a lot of buses called matatus. They're basically like vans. Like this is how people get around and transport. But all these vans, you go everywhere, have graffiti and art designs all over them. They're all named as something, you know, something unique. But see, they're named like Wu-Tang, Tupac, Biggie. I see a big picture, you know, graffiti art painting of Lil Wayne and Baby on one. You see Fabulous on another. You're like, where are they getting all this stuff? But hip hop is really big in terms of what you see every day in Nairobi. You see that on these, and you go in and it's blasting this music. And it's something that people really identify with at the same time that they're playing local hip hop there from Kenya. So it's just an experience that I think really made an impact on me because it showed me that this is really, what we do here really affects people. Like, you might, you know, who knows what style you're going to create in whatever you do, but the ripple effects that it has are significant. You might not see them, but kind of with the internet today, it could get out there. Like these little kids doing the dances, the jerk and all that stuff, and all these dances, the Bay that they had, the little Cali swag kids, those dancers are all out there. Those kids are there looking at that and saying, wow, what can we develop? What can we create? And so the little things you do, like you might put a little dance on YouTube, and that might flip across the world and inspire somebody. So I'd encourage everybody to look to see what other people are doing. With whatever you do, there are kids across the world that are doing the same thing. And that exchange, it only enriches all of us, because I think what hip-hop does is it allows you to get in touch with, you know, your creativity. Your creativity is your spirit, your soul. And you'll see when you go to other cultures is that they're more in touch with that, with not these material things that make up life and that are focused. So hip-hop, I think, allows us to focus on those kind of things. Like, I went to school right here at Central, and we had ciphers in the halls all day. They had to kick us out, push us out. They had to give us a club so we could coordinate and have concerts here. But we turned the spirit into something else at this school. And every day when you get tired of the class, all the things you have to do, but that cycle we had, we used to spend time in that circle, you know, and it's just like a ritual. And you go through it. When you have that ritual and you connect energy, you suspend time and you energize yourself. You come out of there more than you came in with. And like I said, I've come out of this school and this experience with hip hop with some of the best relationships in my life. So it's something that gave me far more than I think I gave it. So I'd encourage anybody just to, whether you're in school, whatever you're doing, just participate. You know, that's what hip hop is about. And on the last note, I'll just touch on, I think, as an international kind of tool of exchange in American cities, I think hip hop is big. Because say I grew up in Seattle in the South End, we have Black, Asian, Samoan, Latino, and everybody had their own. I grew up in, like, say, the 90s. So everybody had their own way of doing things. Back then it was some gang issues. And people of different cultures had to define themselves. You know, Filipinos had to define themselves in this way, but hip hop was always the tool they used to define themselves. If they was going to dress in this manner, they were going to represent them, they were going to listen to this type of music. This made them come out and shout brown pride, this and that. I saw certain groups, Samoans. I saw certain groups, you know, doing their thing as far as on the black side, how we did our thing. Those that were African coming up. I came up African when there wasn't a lot of Africans. Now you got a lot of East African groups. We were coming up. This was when people were first coming from Ethiopia, from war, you know, and having to, you was coming to the hood, you was getting, you were fresh meat. So you had to, then people had to get together to click up and to develop an identity. And so seeing that, I've seen how hip hop has been kind of that tool everybody's looked through to say, okay, how do I define myself in this place, you know? And so I think it's been something that's been dope. I think we should do it with a positive outlook, not a negative, because it's been used negatively in some cases, but I think it's far more than joy has been positive. So yeah, I'm glad we're here to talk about it. I definitely want to hear what y'all think, because like I said, it's hip hop. It's supposed to be exchanged, you know, it's supposed to be call and response. So you can respond. Let me know what you think. Well, my man come out here straight from Kenya, so to tell you the real, give you the real deal Kenyan perspective on it. So I'll let him take the reins.
I think too, like, I think you should also play some of your music before, like, because some people, I know some of your music, but not everybody here knows, like, about your music, so I think you should also, like, show what you do too.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Tutuloy ba, Camille talks